having a
So
picnic.
we're in for any games of tennis.
Really?
I'm just not sure we'll manage it today. Well, not before dinner anyway.
I said to Bri that it looks like it's dog hair. Your dog's dog hair.
Yeah.
Oh, your dog's dog hairs are all on the carpet, aren't they?
I've got as far as Todd Berman.
Yeah, they're molting on it.
We're going to burn the house down.
Yeah.
But you use a machine. You use a machine.
I'm surprised that I'm the responsible for it, but I think that's not a good idea for people who've been up till 3 in the morning. Because the people who want grilled cheese will have been drinking.
Alright, then we won't do it.
I mean, if Bri and Tessa set on it, I'll put cheese
That was
anyway.
my idea.
Have you got she-wolf down?
Yes. Yes. Wait, what is that called? Africa. Chodo.
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
You know who you need here is Bri, is Tess.
Oh, that's
Yeah, Tess is being tasked with the pop side, and we're doing the hair metal side.
Well, have you told her?
Teacher anyway.
Charlie, did you meet Daniel?
I did,
Oh, we're
which
on
is good.
camera.
Yeah, yeah. And everybody's on camera now. Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm Johnny's dad. Nice to meet you. Hi.
Elena.
Hello, Elena.
Good to see
Hi again.
you.
Hi.
Matt.
Hi, Matt.
to
Now,
meet you.
drinks, people.
I showed it to you. It's lovely.
Well, what a house full of beautiful women.
Now, have you got a hat?
I haven't got a hat, no.
You're not going to put a hat.
She's still got her dinner on her face.
No, she hasn't. It's very clean and lovely. Very smart.
God, you look awesome.
Do you think Tish might fall over backwards?
Yeah, she may well.
I don't know where it is. Hopefully somebody knows it.
I think the plan was 6. Oh, it's only 6 right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, the ceremony is about to begin, so do please be seated. My name is Ed Cook. I have known Johnny for 15 years.
My name is Tess O'Brien, and I've known Bri since before I can remember.
We would both like to welcome you very much to this little spot where the wedding of Johnny Lowndes and Bri O'Brien is to take place. You have travelled a very long way to be here. The journey you made to get here is part of this ceremony. Jonny and Bri are travellers themselves. They first met while both on adventures far from where they were born, and I have asked you all on an adventure into these mountains to help them take their first few steps as a married couple.
During the ceremony, we're going to say some things that they couldn't quite say themselves. Rushania spread in England and Maryland. And the first thing is that they both love you all. And just by being here, you're making this the happiest day of their lives. Thank you again, and we'll try and reward you by not being too long. Jonny and Bri come here often, to swim in the lake, to sit by the O'Brien's fire, and to listen to old records in the silence that escapes them in New York. The 20 months since they've met have been bright and noisy. They've made a lot of spectacular decisions. And the calm and tranquility of these trees that grow and shed and hold up nests and fall down, without hesitating, without complaint, have kept them sane and have kept them wandering with their feet grounded.
As you may have discovered, the paths around the lake and through the trees can be hard to find, and Bri and Jonny have sometimes had to hold hands to support each other when one has become entangled. The tangles are never serious though, and they are preparation for the narrower paths and sharper thorns in their life. They can't wander too far in error before they see gleams of light from a friendly house though. At the door is family, or a friend, or a stranger they will turn into a friend, with the charm that comes from wandering hand in hand.
We've asked you here so that you can see for yourselves the earth from which this marriage is pushing up and out, and the water they so enjoy by. We're going to ask them to speak words. Which will carry out to you, but also over to the water. The lake may grow deeper with the rain or shallower with the heat, but it's never anything more or anything less than a lake. So it's like their marriage. It's important that and it's important that we include it in their vows. We will now have a reading of a poem that means a lot to Jonny and Bri. It is the favorite poem of both of their fathers, just one example of discovering the things they have in common.
I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honeybee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. The midnight's all a glimmer, a noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings.
Your sitting here is the most important part of the ceremony. Bri and Jonny's vows are going to be heard just by you and by the land and water that is around us. And the land and water won't do anything to help them. It only helps by being just what it is. You will have to help them by witnessing their vows and by keeping them.
Now, some of you may have been expecting a wedding ceremony, perhaps with a priest, but as you can see, we're doing something slightly different here. And Jonny and Bri were legally joined in marriage earlier this year, but the true significance of marriage, though, is of course social. And it is here on this promontory that Jonny and Bri are truly married, announcing their commitment to spend the rest of their lives together, with your joining in with this emblem of their love. So because of this, in what follows, we will have some audience participation.
In these participatory vows, we're going to read off different things, and we're going to ask you guys, for anyone that you think that you fall into, any example that you think you fall into, to respond with "I will." So we're going to go. You think that there might be more than you think that you fall into. You can fall into more than one. You can fall into all of them. So we're going to do one practice one. To all of the audience here. Remember, what are you going to... I will is your response. But to all of the audience here, I promise... Ooh, one more second. To all of the audience here, to everyone at Bri and Jonny's wedding, we promise to listen to Bri and Jonny's vows and to respond with as much enthusiasm as we have for their wedding in Jenna.
I will.
A little bit more enthusiasm.
I will.
All right. Lots of enthusiasm. Guests who live far away, who won't see Bri and Jonny very often, will you promise to keep them involved in your lives, at least as much as they involve you in yours, and to keep one small corner of your couch available for them, as they promised to do for yours?
I will.
Old friends of Jonny and Bri, will you promise to help the newlyweds to remember the times they were bravest and when they were vulnerable, when they were at their best and at their worst? And will you stand up for the lessons they learned from you and from life as they keep making their uncertain way?
I will.
Now, friends of Jonny and Bri, will you promise to see them now at the moment of their greatest happiness and carry this moment with you as we grow to know you better? And will you promise to understand when we see the newlyweds on Wet Wednesday when they are far from Bri?
I will.
All siblings, anyone here who has a brother or sister, will you remember what it's like to love someone and be infuriated by them? and use that feeling to remind Bri and Jonny of the unconditional nature of their love when they are stamping their feet?
I will.
Americans, will you promise to use the power of American democracy to help the newlyweds to be democratic? Use the power of American optimism to make the newlyweds optimistic, and to use the power of American self-confidence to keep the newlyweds believing they can.
Europeans, will you promise to keep the newlyweds rational like the Greeks, refined like the French, charming like the English, passionate like the Spanish, welcoming like the Irish, and will you keep them in this young country rooted to the ancient traditions that they are growing from?
I will.
Internationalists, who believe that your home is wherever you make it, will you promise to teach Bri and Jonny to do the same, to make a home wherever they stop together, and to keep looking together for undiscovered countries?
I will.
Romantics, believers in true love, will you promise to stand up for priceless things in a world where love is cheap? Will you show the newlyweds where the colours are when the world seems grey?
I will.
Cynics, who love the world so much they rail against people who take it for granted, will you promise to cut through the froth surrounding love and help the newlyweds see themselves and each other's clearly?
I will.
Guests who are closer to Jonny, will you promise to try and see what Jonny sees in Bri, getting to know Bri as part of this union and as a friend in her own right?
I will.
Guests who are closer to Bri, will you promise to try and see what Bri sees in Jonny and getting to know Jonny as a part of this union and as a friend in her own right? I will.
Educators, who guard and foster knowledge and skills, anyone who leads anyone by example, in fact, will you promise to keep teaching the newlyweds so that they have lots of wisdoms upon which to draw?
I will.
Scholars, students, and apprentices, curious people and enthusiasts, will you promise to give the newlyweds some of your hunger so they are always learning and always growing?
I will.
A niche one, this one. Poets and artists, anyone who's drawn, written, or said something they're proud of, will you promise to find the beauty in complicated life and show it to the newlyweds and give them new lights in which to see each other?
I will.
Leaders in law and finance, people who make society more than a glint in a caveman's eye, will you promise to help the newlyweds understand their place in the world and help them to see the practical world, pulling them out of their eternal honeymoon?
I will. Guests who build things, architects, carpenters, engineers, programmers, crafters, Lego geniuses, will you promise to look with an appraising eye at the life of these newlyweds and the one that they are building together, inspecting for strength and flexibility and for beauty in design?
I will.
Come on, architects.
Oh, well, you're good at Lego.
I will, yeah.